Hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of Half Century of Sports Cards. Countdown of my favorite 400 cards in my collection. These were the cards from last week going down to number 380. We're doing an outside edition because in mid-November in Minnesota, we do not get many days in the 60s, which we are at today. So I thought we'd do it from outside where it's very nice. So we're going to go first with card number 379, and this is a 1954 Richie Ashburn card. 54 I thought is just a cool year for Topps. Great pictures with a little in action that they show down below. It's the year of the rookie cards of Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, Al Kaline. We got Ted Williams bookending the set, Jackie Robinson in there, and it's also the year I think I've got my coolest unopened pack. This is a 54 unopened pack, what they look like. They were 5 cents, had 4 cards in them. And very tempting to open this thing. It's kind of, you know, I'm not an investor in cards, I'm a collector, but the one thing I invest a little bit is these packs that I've got. Although if I open them, that won't be the case. And I'm sure I'm going to get tempted to open some over the years, but just a cool looking pack of how they came back in 54. But Richie Ashburn, talked a little bit about him. Speedy center fielder, little power. He only hit 29 homers in his career, but great on base guy, leadoff type guy. Had a 396 career on base percentage with 3 years over 440. He retired a little young, age 35, had 64 career WAR. You can see the back of this 54 card, which 54 backs are about as good as they get. Just great color cartoons. The stats you can read real easily in color. Richie Ashburn retired as the center fielder with the 3rd most career putouts in just playing 15 years. So the only 2 ahead of him are Willie Mays and Tris Speaker. Next on the list, we've got a 1960 Topps, another cool design, I think, the sideways cards of Sandy Koufax, the left arm from God. Koufax was still in this card in those kind of middling, kind of average pitching years, those first 6 years of his career. You can see on the back of his card his career ERA here is still in the 4s. But you can see the promises coming. The strikeouts are 170 some that year in 153 innings. So he's got velocity, he's got that great curveball. And his last 6 seasons, after this 60 seasons, so starting in 61, were just phenomenal. He led the league in ERA the last 5 of those seasons, led in strikeouts 4 of those 6 seasons, led in FIP, fielding independent pitching, all 6 of those seasons. And his record in those 6 years, 129 wins, 34 losses. Next, we are celebrating the Red Sox 75 season. This is their 76 Topps cards. But Freddie Lynn and Jim Rice, center fielder and left fielder for the Red Sox. Rice did a lot of DHing as well. But these 2 guys in their rookie seasons were Rice 3rd in MVP and Lynn the MVP. So, and they were obviously 1-2 in Rookie of the Year. They led that Red Sox team to the World Series, one of the best World Series of all time. It's the one where Carlton Fisk hits that ball down the line in the bottom of the 9th that he's trying to blow fair and waving it fair, and it hits the foul pole, which is fair. And the Red Sox win that Game 6, force a Game 7. Unfortunately, they lost Game 7 to the Reds, which my brother was very happy about, as he was a big-time Reds fan. But great World Series of a couple of guys. Rice, who ended up in the Hall of Fame with 48 career WAR, and Fred Lynn, who's not in the Hall of Fame, but actually had a little more, 50 career WAR. So a couple of really good players. And I will show their rookie cards, their 75 cards here as well, which aren't as cool as their 76 cards with the Rookie Cup. All right, next on the list is a very old card. An 1887 Old Judge. This is Mickey Welch, Smilin' Mickey they called him. Mickey Welch was one of the best pitchers of the 1880s. He retired in 1892. He had 307 career wins, a 271 career ERA. Amazing thing about him, 5 seasons he threw over 500 innings, or 3 seasons over 500 innings. And in his best year, 1885, he was a little short of that, throwing 492 innings. And in that season, he went 44-11 with a 166 ERA, had a 258 strikeouts, but he did not win the Cy Young. Reason for that, Cy Young wasn't in the league yet. It was another 5 years. Cy Young was just 18 at the time, and another 5 years before he would be pitching in the major leagues. Next, we've got a big basketball card. Yeah, this is a 76 David Skywalker Thompson. Now, he was one of my favorite players, and the reason being, this was when I was in junior high. I think it was in 8th grade, science class. All us basketball players kind of sat together in the back of the room, and we gave each other nicknames and drew pictures and stuff. And my nickname was named after David Thompson. Skywalker was a decent jumper at the time, and you know, it was one of the little parts of basketball, being 5'11", and eventually being able to kind of rattle dunk something in when I was like college age. I couldn't do it in high school. But being that good jumper, you know, David Thompson, who was the best jumper maybe of all time, he could grab a dime off the backboard, and he was 6'4". He was a great player, led North Carolina State to a national title in 1974. And then had a really good Hall of Fame career with the Denver Nuggets. Unfortunately curtailed a little bit by drug use, as well as knee and foot injuries. But he's kind of, one of the biggest games he played, it was in college against Maryland. It was during the regular season of that year. They won the national championship, and Maryland only lost, I think, 1 game in the ACC, and it was that game, 103-100 in overtime. And this is the days before shot clocks, before 3-pointers. And because of that, they decided to expand the field of the NCAA tournament to now, well, now it's even more than 64. But it was kind of that game that got them going and saying, hey, we need to invite more teams. There could be more than one good team in a league. So David Thompson, you can see this is his rookie card. Big time scorer, and there's his college career at North Carolina State. That freshman year, back in those days, they had to play freshman ball and couldn't play on the regular team, so that's why he averaged 36 a game that year. And it was also the days when the dunk was outlawed, the Lou Alcindor rule, and it was too bad for David Thompson because he was one of the best dunkers of all time. Next, we've got a 1969 Topps, Roberto Clemente. I just think this is a cool looking card. Just that almost kind of a stern look on his face, a little bit of follow through. A little bit later in his career, 69 is a set that's got a lot of really crappy cards with people without hats or airbrushed hats, or same pictures as the year before or 3 years before. But it seems like a lot of the stars get some really cool looking cards with great color, big pictures because there's just little borders. And Clemente is one of those guys that just got a really cool looking 69 Topps card. Backs of the cards were also just that bright pinkish color that I think is just really cool. This is the beginning of Clemente's last 4 years where he just put on an awesome run. He hit in his last 4 years 345, 352, 341, and then 312, and won Gold Gloves in each of those years too. He actually won Gold Gloves the last 12 years of his career. So you'll see a few more Clementes as we finish this favorite 400, but there's the 1969. And then last on my list, so one you kind of have probably some puzzled looks, but it's a 1973 Topps football card of Tom Dempsey. And he just is a cool story, and is why he made my list. And this card kind of depicts it with his, you can see his kicking leg. For one, a 6'1", 265-pound kicker that can get his leg up there, I think is pretty amazing. And then the fact that you can see his foot. He was born without any toes, just kind of half a foot. His right hand, he didn't have any fingers. And so they made this special shoe. It was like a couple $100 shoe that he could kick in, and ended up, at the time, it was 1970, end of the game, they're down by 1. It's 17-16 against the Lions. At this time, he's playing for the Saints. And the Saints it was, what, 3 seconds left, and they were at their own 44-yard line. So they had 56 yards to go for a touchdown. And they thought, what the heck, let's just try a field goal. So out comes Tom Dempsey, you know, his half foot, coming out to kick. It lined up, it actually ended up being a 63-yard field goal. This is the days where the goalposts were at the goal line, not 10 yards deep. So 63-yard field goal, gets it up in the air, and it goes through. It's good. Longest field goal at the time by like 7 yards. I think the previous long was 56. And this is a straight-on kicker, not a soccer-style kicker. Hits this 63-yard field goal at the buzzer. They win the game. And that longest field goal lasted for 40 years until somebody kicked a longer one. The record now is 66 yards. But Tom Dempsey. So that is the end of this episode. Next episode, 44, be a little sneak peek. I think we're going to deviate from my top 400, and I went to the dark side and sent some cards off for grading, so we might do a little reveal of some cards on my next episode. And some of those are going to be some of those 71 vendings that I decided to send in, and it should be a little fun going through that. So until then, we'll see you. Have a great day, guys.